Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namaste everyone. Day 6 of Saptaham. Today we enter the 10th canto, the heart of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which lovingly describes the divine birth and childhood pastimes of Bhagavan Srikrishna.
Welcome to the Dasama skandam of Srimad Bhagavatam. There is a beautiful thought behind the saying Dasamasya Visuddhyatvam, that we need purity and maturity to enter into Dasama skanda. I think of it like the birth of a baby. It takes 9 months for the baby to become mature and ready to be born. After birth, the baby is covered with what we lovingly call Maya. The covering is gently cleansed and the baby becomes ready for us to see, touch, hold and cuddle. In the same way, perhaps the first 9 skandhas prepare us for the divine birth into the Dasama skanda. Each skanda purifies us, matures us and prepares our hearts to experience not merely hear but truly enter into the leela of Sri Krishna. After this journey through the 9 skandhas, we are ready to behold, touch, embrace and relish the Krishna leelas with a purified heart. May Sri Krishna bless us all with his divine leelamrutam.
The Lord appeared on earth to protect his devotees, remove evil, establish dharma and fill the world with divine love, joy and compassion. The divine appearance of Lord Sri Krishna. King Kamsa ruled with great cruelty. A divine prophecy declared that the 8th child of his sister Devaki would destroy him. Out of fear, Kamsa imprisoned Devaki and Vasudeva one by one. He killed their first 6 children. At midnight on the sacred day of Ashtami, the Supreme Lord appeared in the prison in his beautiful 4-armed form. At the request of his parents, he assumed the form of a divine baby. By the Lord's divine arrangement, the prison doors opened. The guards fell into a deep sleep, and the chains binding Vasudeva broke apart. Carrying baby Krishna in a basket, Vasudeva crossed the flooded Yamuna river. The serpent Adishesha spread his hoods over them, protecting the divine child from the rain. In Gokula, Vasudeva exchanged baby Krishna with the newborn daughter of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaja. Thus Lord Krishna began his joyful childhood in Raja, the joy of Gokula. These people of Gokula celebrated the birth of Krishna with great happiness. As he grew, little Krishna delighted everyone with his sweet smile, playful laughter, and innocent mischief. He crawled through the homes of the gopis, stole butter, shared it with his friends and even the monkeys, and filled every heart with joy. Although these playful acts seemed ordinary, they revealed the Lord's boundless love for his devotees. He defeated Putana, who came disguised as a loving mother. He destroyed the god demon Sakatasura and the whirlwind demon Trivadarta and the universe in his mouth. One day Mother Yashoda heard that Krishna had eaten mud. When she asked him to open his mouth, she was astonished to see the entire universe within it. The planets, stars, oceans, mountains, all living beings and even herself looking into Krishna's mouth. For a moment she realized that her little child was the Supreme Lord himself, yet by his divine power, she soon returned to her loving role as his mother. This beautiful pastime teaches us that the infinite Lord lovingly accepts the affection of his devotees. Damodara Leela, bound by love. Another day, Krishna playfully broke a part of butter and distributed it to the monkeys. Mother Yashoda chased him with a rope to discipline him. Although no rope was long enough, the Lord finally allowed himself to be tied to a wooden mortar because of his mother's pure love. While crawling with the mortar behind him, Krishna pulled down two great Arjuna trees, delivering the two celestial brothers Nalakuvara and Manigriva from a curse. This wonderful pastime teaches us that the Supreme Lord, who cannot be found by the entire universe, becomes bound by the pure love of his devotees. Protect the whirlwind demon Trivadartha and the calf demon Vatasura. He later defeated Bakasura and the giant crane demon and the Agasura, the enormous serpent who tried to swallow Krishna and his friends. Each of these pastimes showed that although Krishna appeared as a playful child, he is the all-powerful Supreme Lord who protects his devotees. One of the most joyful pastimes of Krishna's childhood is Vanabhojanam, the forest picnic. Krishna and his cow-headed friends would take the cows into the beautiful forest of Vrindavana, surrounded by trees, flower birds, rivers, and the gentle sounds of nature. The boys would sit together and share their food. Each friend would bring something from home and they would lovingly share their meals with one another. Krishna would sit in the center surrounded by his dear friends, laughing, joking, and enjoying their simple companionship. The Supreme Lord, who is worshipped by great sages and celestial beings, delighted in sharing an ordinary forest meal with his beloved friends. This pastime reminds us the Lord is pleased by simple, loving relationships. True happiness does not come from wealth or luxury, but from sharing friendship, love, and remembered for Bhagavan. Brahma Mohana Leela. Brahma beloved by Krishna. One day, Brahma, the creator of the universe, witnessed Krishna playing with his cowherd friends and became curious about the Lord's divine power. To test Krishna, Brahma secretly took away the cowherd boys and cows and hid them in a mysterious place. But Krishna immediately expanded himself into identical forms of every boy and every calf. He continued to live, play, eat, and care for the cows exactly as before. For an entire year, the people of Raja did not realize what had happened. Every mother felt even greater love for her child, and when Brahma returned, every cow felt extraordinary affection for her calf because each one was actually Krishna himself. When Brahma returned, he was astonished to see the boys and cows still there. He realized that the Supreme Lord has been bewildered. Even him, Brahma bowed before Krishna and understood that the Supreme Lord cannot be measured by our intelligence or limited understanding. This beautiful pastime teaches us that even the greatest knowledge and power cannot fully comprehend the Supreme Lord. The Lord reveals himself through his grace, and the simplest path to him is loving devotion and surrender. Kaliya Martana, the waters of the Yamuna river became poisonous because the serpent Kaliya. To protect the people and the animals of Vraja, Lord Krishna jumped into the river and defeated the mighty serpent. He then danced gracefully upon Kaliya's many hoods. Seeing the prayers of Kaliya's wives, the Lord forgave the serpent and instructed him to leave the Yamuna peacefully. This pastime teaches us that while the Lord destroys pride and evil, he is always compassionate to those who sincerely surrender. Venugeetam, the song of the divine flute. The sweet music of Lord Krishna's flute filled the forest of Vrindavana with divine joy. The gopis were filled with love for the Lord as they heard his enchanting melody. They glorified the good fortune of the trees, rivers, birds, cows, and Govardhana hill, which were all blessed by Krishna's presence. The Venugeetam teaches us that when our hearts hear the Lord's call, we naturally turn toward Him with a love devotion. Just as the flute is empty and allows Krishna's breath to flow through it, we too should become humble and free from pride so that the Lord's grace may flow through our lives. In Govardhana hill, when the people of Vraja prepared to worship Indra, Krishna encouraged them to worship Govardhana hill and thank God for nature gifts. Angered, Indra sent torrential rains upon Vraja. To protect everyone, little Krishna effortlessly lifted Govardhana hill with the little finger of his left hand and held it for 7 days while the people and animals took shelter beneath it. Realizing his mistake, Indra bowed before the Lord and sought his forgiveness. This pastime reminds us that humility is greater than pride and that the Lord is the true protector of all. The Rasa Leela, the depth of divine love. The great Acharyas explain that these divine pastimes are completely spiritual and should never be compared with ordinary worldly relationships. They reveal the highest and purest love between the Supreme Lord and the individual soul. One of the most sacred pastimes of the 10th canto is the Rasa Leela. On a beautiful moonlight in Vrindavana, Lord Krishna danced with the gopis, who loved him with complete selflessness and pure devotion. Each gopi felt that the Lord was beside her, showing that the Supreme Lord lovingly responds to every sincere devotee. The Rasa Leela is not an ordinary dance. It represents the eternal relationship between God and the soul. It teaches us that the highest form of devotion is to love God without selfish desires and to joyfully surrender our hearts to Him. As Akrura was taking Lord Krishna and Balarama from Vrindavana toward Mathura, he stopped to bathe in the sacred Yamuna there. By the Lord's divine grace, Akrura received a magnificent vision of Krishna and Balarama in their divine forms. Overwhelmed with devotion, Akrura offered heartfelt prayers and realized the supreme glory of the Lord. This teaches us that when the heart is filled with sincere devotion, the Lord reveals His divine presence and grace in the most wonderful ways. Malakara, the humble garland maker. When Lord Krishna and Balarama arrived in Mathura, they met a humble garland maker named Malakara. Seeing the divine brothers, Malakara welcomed them with great love and devotion. He offered them beautifully flower garlands and worshipped them with a sincere heart. Pleased with his devotion, Lord Krishna blessed Malakara with prosperity, good fortune, and most importantly, devotion to the Lord. Malakara did not possess great wealth or power. His offering was simple flowers, but his heart was filled with love. This teaches us that God looks at the devotion behind an offering, not its worldly value. Even the simplest act of service, when performed with love, becomes an offering to the Lord. Krishna defeats Kamsa. When Krishna became older, he traveled to Mathura with his brother Balarama. There he defeated the mighty wrestlers and finally destroyed the cruel king Kamsa, freeing his parents and bringing peace to the kingdom. This fulfilled the divine purpose of his earthly appearance to protect the righteous and remove evil. Brahmara Geetam, the song to the bumblebee. When Lord Krishna later went to Mathura, the people of Vrindavana deeply missed him. The Lord sent his dear devotee Uddhava to console them and deliver his message. Seeing a bumblebee, Srimati Radha Rani spoke to it as if it were Krishna's messenger. She expressed her deep longing and unwavering love for the Lord. Although separated from him physically, her heart never stopped remembering him. The Brahmara Geetam teaches us that true devotion continues even in times of separation. Constant remembrance of the Lord, whether he seems near or far, is one of the highest expressions of bhakti. These beautiful pastimes remind us that the Lord desires not our wealth or abilities but our sincere love, faith, and devotion. When we remember him with a pure heart, he is always present with us.
Rukmini Kalyanam. Rukmini Kalyanam is one of the most beautiful stories of devotion and surrender in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Rukmini Devi, the princess of Vidarbha, had heard about the divine qualities, beauty, compassion, and glory of Lord Sri Krishna. Although she had never met him, she completely surrendered her heart to him and accepted him as her husband. Her brother Rukmi wanted her to marry Sisupala instead. Rukmini, with complete faith in Krishna, sent a message through a trusted Brahmana, praying that the Lord would come and accept her. On the day of her wedding, Rukmini went to the temple of goddess Ambika. As she was returning, Lord Krishna arrived, lifted her onto his chariot, and carried her away, defeating the kings who tried to stop him. Rukmini Devi's unwavering faith and complete surrender were rewarded. Lord Sri Krishna married her in Dwaraka, and their divine wedding is celebrated as Rukmini Kalyanam. The beautiful lesson of Rukmini Kalyanam is when our heart sincerely chooses Bhagavan and we surrender to him with complete faith, the Lord himself comes to our rescue. Rukmini Devi teaches us unwavering faith, pure devotion, surrender, and complete trust in the Lord.
Kuchela, the Lord's love for his friend Kuchela, also known as Sudama, was a dear childhood friend of Lord Krishna from their days together in the ashrama of their guru Sandipini Muni. Although Krishna had become the king of Dwaraka and Sudama lived in the great poverty, their friendship remained unchanged. At the love request of his wife, Sudama went to Dwaraka to meet Krishna carrying a small offering of humble beaten rice. When Krishna saw his old friend, he welcomed him with great affection, washed his feet, and treated him with the greatest honor. The Lord joyfully accepted the simple offering because it was given with love. Sudama was too humble to ask Krishna for anything. Yet, when he turned home, he found that his poor hut had been transformed into a beautiful home and his family was blessed with prosperity. This beautiful pastime teaches us that the Lord does not measure our offerings by their material value. He sees the love and devotion with which they are offered, a simple gift offered with a pure heart. Lessons we learn today. God appears on earth to protect his devotees and establish Dharma. The Lord fills our lives with joy through his loving pastimes. Pure love and devotion are more powerful than strength or wealth. The Supreme Lord allows himself to be bound only by the love of his devotees. The Lord always protects those who surrender to him. Humility pleases God while pride leads to suffering. Hearing the divine pastimes of Lord Krishna fills our hearts with peace, love, and devotion. The childhood pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna remind us that the Supreme Lord is not distant. He lovingly enters the lives of his devotees, protects them in times of danger, removes their fears, and fills their hearts with everlasting joy. Let us pray that Bhagavan Sri Krishna blesses us with the loving devotion of Mother Yashoda, the friendship of the cowherd boys, the unwavering faith of the people of Vraja, the selfless and unconditional love and complete surrender to Krishna that shine through the gopis' prema and hearts that always delight in hearing his divine leelas. Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu loka samasta sukhino bhavantu Sri Hari Sri Hari Sri Hari.